women got to run everything in the black community, but we gonna be the ones that are the ones in front. We got to get over that.
Yeah.
We got to start getting. We got to work together.
She's taping you.
I'm sorry. This is good stuff. Now,
This is
I
what
want
she
you.
does.
I'm sorry. You're talking about some good stuff. I mean,
Okay.
you're laying it down.
She's
This
different. That's
is
what she
true.
does.
This is true
Just
that
get
you're
used to it.
laying out.
Okay.
And this is a preach. I want you to start back over. Let's start back over
Okay.
when we're talking about desegregation, and because your call, like you were saying, Joshua,
Yeah.
is to African American men, like
Right.
the people on the fringes, the marginalized,
Right.
and what you were talking about, how bridge builders like myself,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we're connected, and so that when
Right.
you were talking, I want you to start back where you were
Okay,
talking about
so-
the merging of WED Du Bois. And
All right,
here's
so we-
Karen over here. Don't even sleep on this one right here. This right here. I want to be like her.
I'm humble. I'm just at the table with the women of God, because women of God powerful. The melanin is powerful in these women of God, right? right. So we're in the 1960s, and we're having this amazing movement that's going on. But the problem is that up until that time period, black people were forced to live together within the same neighborhoods and collectively build.
And it was one community.
And it was one community that was socio-economically diverse, right? And educationally diverse, right? So you had working class folks, you had folks that were doctors and lawyers, white collar, blue collar. And so what happens is
And you
that
actually had a lot of the leadership that was there, and they lived right there.
right. And they lived in the same neighborhoods and communities. So in the neighborhoods that my parents grew up in, one in the north, right, in Milwaukee, and the other one in Natchez, Mississippi, they experienced a black community that was loving, that was caring, that you could see someone who was an educator, a doctor, and somebody who was a factory worker, all within the same community.
And they could all be deacons in the same church.
And they could all be deacons in the same church.
And
They
get the
ate from the
same
same
retreat,
grocery
same
store.
yeah.
They did.
That's
They
what you
went to
do
the
with
same
somebody.
funeral parlors when somebody passed.
Yeah.
And then what we have is we have laws that are passed that removes the red lines where black people had to live within those neighborhoods, and so the people then leave.
The educated people.
Educated people,
Yeah.
people that had money,
People that had money,
they
they
move,
left.
as you said, to go and grasp the American dream,
Yeah.
which is an individualistic, self-focused dream. They're going to pursue happiness through the pursuit of property
Yeah.
and status. And there was something that we were missing, and that was a moral responsibility to community.
Okay, you preaching now.
And we needed that. We needed a divine integrity. We needed a moral responsibility that we would stay a collective and support and love each other. And that's true. That's gospel truth.
Yeah.
And that's, we love each other. And that's what we didn't have then. So when the thing was taken off, the community then started to downward spiral.
Because what the people that were left were the ones that were economically poor
The ones that were economically poor. Then we have
and educationally poor.
and education poor. So then all you have to throw on top of it, but we're still okay because we have manufacturing. So then industries then are moved out of the country, are mechanized, right? All this kind of thing happens. So then manufacturing within the Rust Belt in our major urban cities where black folks had moved after after World War II. Boom, we have downward spiral within now, because what the point was to get out of the community, So the thing that the fear or the concern that I have is in this season when we have folks that are building bridges and that are moving towards racial reconciliation, black folks that are in those spaces saying we're going to bridge spaces with our white brothers, especially in the faith-based communities. What though is happening within the black community in its many different facets, be it the elite or be it the very poor, like the folks that I work with, right, in Baltimore City, the drug dealers, the single mother who's just trying to make it, that kid whose water has been turned off by the city who has to wash their clothes in a dirty bathtub. What about them?
Yeah.
And how are we seeing our identity as black people as something that is God-given, so that we can worship through our blackness, like worshiping through a stained glass window, letting His light shine through in a unique and perspective way. We need that identifying factor, and so we need to talk together. Us that are doing grassroots groundwork in the community, the folks that are in the historically black colleges and the elites, that are in black circles and the bridge builders, we all need to be collaboration building, talking with each other so that we can be on our Booker T and on our W.E. Du Bois. Because W. Du Bois was talking about let's integrate ourselves into the white institutions and establishments. Booker T was we need to institution build. And I think the problem is we always say or, but we need to start saying and stop fighting with each other. And we need women at the table.
Say that again.
We need women at the table in leadership because we also had a battle between Zora Neale Hurston and Langston Hughes. We gotta get back to the Sankofa concept. You can't move forward until you reach back and get what you forgot. That direct translation is it is not taboo to fetch what you forgot. What did we forget? We need to look back and say, oh wait, hold up, there were some things that happened here, lessons that we've learned. So Zora Neale Hurston was writing this book, Isaac Watching God, and she's talking about issues that women were having with black men at the time. Langston Hughes says we don't want to be portrayed like that. But the reality was Zora Neale Hurston opened up that kitchen. She got into that kitchen. And she was dealing with the real issue. So I need to have a conversation with women and say, hold up, you talking about black identity and all this, but what about how your men are treating us? And then we can say, well, hold up, you know, it's not just the men. All this baby mama drama, it's not just the father's fault. We need to have that real conversation between men and women too. We gotta learn from the past.
And that's good. The past is so key. Like I want you to go back to what you were saying. Like,
and this sister, she said a lot of that, and I had to say it over again for her.
This is so good because it's like we're still dealing with the same thing. But I want you to go back to, you know, we were talking about like when we start having these conversations, I want you to make that quote where you were saying, because I get this all the time, especially as a bridge builder. One of the things I hear the first conversation that people try to deflect, you know, the conversation is saying, well, what about black on black crime? You know how many murders they had in Baltimore? Like let's talk about that for a second.
Look, and I'm in the middle of that. So I'm somebody to talk about it because we have 300 plus murders right now in a city of 620,000. Those murders are happening right outside of my apartment where I live. Guys I know are being killed that I work with on a daily basis. So this is near and dear to my heart. But you cannot deflect from the issue at hand of racial systemic injustice. And so I feel Reverend Sekou, he hit it the best when people were saying, well, what about the black on black crime? What about the black on black crime? What about the issues internally within the black community? Reverend Sekou said this, he said, if a slave kills another slave, does that make slavery right?
Drop mic. I need it.
And that hits it at this point because if a slave steals from another slave, if a slave kills another slave, it's not about that is important, but it doesn't take away the fact that slavery is an evil. So you can do your food program to the slaves. You can run vacation Bible school for the slaves. You can do all of these wonderful things for the slaves. But if you're not
urban ministry,
you can do urban ministry to the slaves. You can go church plant with the slaves. You can do all that for the slaves. But if you're not tearing down the institution, the evil institution of systemic injustice and slavery, then your legacy is not going to be a kingdom bearer and bringer to the earth. Your legacy is not going to be that.
And you're not doing justice.
And you're not doing justice. You're not seeking justice. And so when we look at in a historical context, who do we look at as the powerful Christians of the past era? It was the abolitionists. It was the freedom riders. It was the people that were willing to sacrifice their life to love other people. Jesus Christ. That's bearing a cross. So it's fundamental to Christianity. It's fundamental to Christianity that you would sacrifice for someone else in that way. So to say, I'm going to sacrifice my own security, whatever that may be it physically, social, economically, politically, whatever, to destroy a wicked institution. And now in this context, we're talking about the wicked institution of social, of racial injustice. That is the kingdom coming forth. And that speaks to this millennial generation, that speaks to the world, and we need to speak to the world.
It's good stuff. Truth in here. And look who just walked in. Say hello. So we're here at the National Youth Workers. Yeah,
Oh.
we're here at the National Youth Workers Conference,
I know it was
and they're getting the earful over here, right? Y'all heard that good truth right there.
Good hearing it, right?
So yeah, and so we have Miss Kathy just walked in. Yes. So we're gonna be tuning back in. This is good stuff. I had to capture this. I love these conversations like this. And don't try to look away, Karen.
I just said I'm not a media person.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna save this one.